Hello and happy August. I believe we've said happy August once, but happy mid-August and welcome to the Q&R Code. I'm your co-host Quinn. My twin's name is Riley.
I'm your co-host Riley. And I do fear we're approaching late August. Time flies.
Is really flying right now, and because of that we thought we would reminisce in the summer, because I know we're going to blink and then it's fall, and some people don't even want to bring up fall right now. Some people are so excited for fall and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready. And I'm feeling a little bit of a mix. Like, I feel really this year, I feel like a lot of the times it's the end of the summer and I do start to a little bit be like, oh, yikes, like, I don't want summer to go, but I also love all of the seasons, and I love Christmas so much. I love the different holidays, honestly, in the later half of the year. I love all holidays. But I feel like I'm always okay with it because I know other good things are coming, but sometimes I get that such like pit in your stomach feeling of like, oh, summer has passed and have I even got around to doing the things I wanted to do? And I'm feeling really good because this summer I feel like I can seriously 10 toes gripped down into the sandy beach say that I really did what I wanted to do this summer and got out there. And we'll talk about some of the things we did, but what we're focusing on this episode is what we have left to do, to just really, tie the bow, slide the package across the counter. Summer is over. We're wrapping her up.
Yeah, but summer's not over yet, so there's still time to complete those summer bucket list items / just enjoying those uniquely summer things. I feel the same way. I feel like that's pretty typical for me with seasons. I have a nostalgia for how much I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to what's to come. I think that right now, specifically this past week of August, there has been so much ripening of fruit in our area, so that is such a summer thing that I love the fresh, juicy fruit, and that's hard to see go. The autumn does have apples and some enjoyable produce to come as well. That is how I think of things more now, is in terms of the garden and produce. But I also, I love the fall, and we get a very delightful fall out here. I think I'm also having bittersweet feelings because this is likely our last Virginia fall for at least a while. We don't know where we'll live in a few months, but it's really nice for the fall season out here, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that, but I'm definitely not signing us over to fall yet, seeing as it's also literally like 95 degrees out today. It's not like I'm really feeling in my apple cidery mood, but I will welcome when there are some cooler parts of the day as well.
Yeah, we also are having 90 plus degree days, so that is very hard for me it's hard for me to imagine people who live in a place that stays very warm all of the time. And I don't mean, there are some places, like I'm thinking of California, like Southern California, people think of it as so temperate all throughout the year, which I do think it's very nice, but they still get chilly evenings and stuff like that. But I feel like there are places, this is me, I have this image of like Arizona, even though I've seriously never spent time there, but that it just stays truly hot like all of the time. That's what it seems like, at least some
like
parts of it.
It's so rip-roaring hot, but I bet there are some areas where it's desert that when the sun goes down, it does cool off. but probably some areas where it doesn't. I don't know. I guess I am thinking of somewhere with what you're describing, like equatorial, that all year it's pretty
Yeah.
consistently warm. Who knows? It's always so nice to have those places in the world, so then when you need a little pick me up, you can visit.
Oh,
And
yes.
my
I
friend
appreciate that.
just got back from Costa Rica and was like, but apparently it was their winter. And I was thinking, well, how do you figure that it's their winter because they're in the northern hemisphere too? And she was like, well, it was their rainy season. I'm like, okay, I don't know. Maybe they're just saying winter because it's like the vibes. But I was just like, I'm pretty certain that when you're then at the equator and below is when the seasons flip-flop, and so that just was one of those moments where someone tells you a piece of information that I'm like, that doesn't sit right with me.
Well, very intelligent of you to even question that. I'm not sure that I would have thought that far because my geography, I some things I can confidently say where they are in the world, and some things like you're saying Costa Rica is the same, like more northern.
Yeah, well, Costa Rica is in Central America, which is between Mexico and South America, and if you I will say that it helps a lot with my geographical knowledge that I have gone like
Wham, the
in a
ocean
ship to
blue.
these places, so then you understand where it is. But anyway, it's not like they were being wrong for that, and I'm not saying it that way. I just was having a moment because we now have a family member that lives in New Zealand, and it's their winter, so I'm like, that's because of this. So
Yeah. Very
no big deal. I also
curious.
did get like an 100% in my astronomy. Is it astrology? I got 100%
Yeah,
in
now
my
you sound
astronomy
stupid.
slash astrology course. I don't even know which one it is. So you can tell how much that stuck. I will
I'm
always
pretty
remember the
sure it
term
was
zenith.
astronomy. I'm pretty sure you were studying the stars.
I'm sure it was astronomy. However, you know, that's my bad. Quinn.
You getting
Oh
100% in
no.
astronomy, is that, are you're flexing geography?
No. In astronomy, you have to talk about the planets and the equator and
Okay.
information that would correlate to that side of the
Okay, so
science.
you're talking about the equator. I guess I could see that.
Well, did you take astronomy? I
No.
forget. Okay, then yes, they talk all about seasons and why the summer solstice is on a certain day in the northern hemisphere versus southern and whatever it is
Oh,
regarding those
interesting.
topics.
I didn't know they took it that far. That makes a lot of sense. But all anyone has ever told me about astronomy, their astronomy class, is that they frickin' look at the stars through a telescope, which is dope.
But yeah,
But that's
it was
like all
cool
I
when we
ever
got
heard
to
about astronomy.
go in the, is it called the planetarium, where
Mm-hmm.
it has a cool domed screen to look at
Yeah,
planets. But
that's
yeah,
very
you
cool.
get into stuff like that, and your zenith, again, term I remember, is like the exact point on Earth if you were to radiate out like a ray, and if you had a beam shooting up of light from you into the sky, like that point is your zenith, and we would have to like measure those distances with freaking calculations for problems. I don't know. So
Interesting.
there's a little bit of education. Speaking of, this is a fun announcement that I should have written down the name of this book. But one of my professors from college is publishing a trilogy that their first book in the series is about to come out. And it's for a like high fantasy series based on Tlingit folklore because he's native, and that's his family's history and tradition, and I am really excited when I saw that on Instagram because someone reshared it. I was just like, yes, that's so cool. I'm excited to read this book.
Aw,
I
cool.
should include the name in our description if anyone wants to like pre-order it or check it out, but that's
Nice.
exciting.
That's really cool. It's so cool to have a book written and published by someone you know. Like one of my friends, her friend is writing a book that's being published and she's like reading the book before
Ooh,
it gets published and giving notes and feedback. I'm like, wow, that's so cool and wild to think about. But
yeah.
maybe fall will bring back my reading kick again. I've been doing some, like I said, light reading here and there. Really not the beach reading summer that I thought it was going to be, but I've accomplished so much else that I feel so good about. Um, I'll jump into my first.
Brayden totally just real quickly added me today because I was trying to decide what books I was going to bring on the trip when I'm gonna see you for a few days coming up. And he was like, well, just bring whatever sounds good to read on the plane because you
Yeah,
never actually read anything when you're with your mom and sister. I'm
yeah,
like, okay. True. He's like, you guys sometimes carry your books down to the beach, but I don't really get why.
yeah. Well, we all love to read and we would all like to read, which is why, but we can't help but just be absorbed within each other's presence. But we do like to read big coffee table books together that all of us can be looking over and sharing as a shared experience. But
Yes.
traveling with that, not so practical. But I definitely want to try and read a little something on the plane too. But I also want to try and get some tattoos drawn up and who knows? We'll see.
The
We'll
life
see.
of an
It'll be so
artist.
quick. You have a
Okay,
longer
I
flight
can't
than
wait
me.
to hear. Yes. I can't wait to hear your first item off your list. Quinn and I have not reviewed together, so we might have some heavy crossover because you know how we are, but we'll see.
Okay. One thing on my summer list that's on my summer bucket list that I want done before the end of summer is a more formal, and I'm using that word loosely, but a photo shoot because we've been taking photos this summer, which feels great, not only on iPhone, which I really appreciate and love the convenience of that, but also my Fuji film camera, my digital camera that has the film simulators I got the very end of October, like beginning of November, and I've been using that. I've taken that on both of our camping trips, and um, I'll definitely bring that when we're doing our trips. We're having a few days together this week, you guys, which we are so excited about. Um, and then we're going to see each other this fall. So I'll definitely be bringing my camera for that. But I want a photo shoot taken of me and Sean. And actually, we did get something arranged. So I'm so excited. And that is fully on my summer bucket list. And I'm so glad because I know the date is scheduled in the calendar. So it is going to happen. Um, we're actually
I
getting a
can't
photo
wait
shoot.
because you guys take cutest photo shoots together. Sean's actually such a good boy for photo shoots and has been.
I know he is. It's not. I know a lot of people are like, ugh, I want them because they're fun and it's good to have photos, but I kind of dread having them done because it's not really fun. But we have so much fun getting our pictures taken together, and honestly, it just feels pretty chill and natural for us and not like a lot of pressure. So I'm so excited because a photographer we already know and love and have worked with on our cover photo shoot for the Q&R code is taking photos of Sean and I. So that's going to be really fun. And I just feel like Riley and I are both having on our mind right now that I'm not saying this is going to be the last year, for Sean and I on our property. I'm thinking it probably will not be, but of course you just never know where life takes you within a year's time. But because of the transitions happening in our life with Riley and Brayden having their impending move that's going to happen next spring, and just also the feeling of like life is unpredictable. You don't know where it's going to take you. So I am really excited to have someone come take photos on our property and just with us in this place that we really love, that has been home for years, and just the first place we've truly lived with our all of our animals and our equine, and we
Aw.
just have our own little farmstead ranch set up, and that to me is so special. And I just don't know I don't know what comes, and our lease is signed at the beginning of the summer, so we just don't know. You never know how much time you have at a place, and I'm excited to document it.
Yeah. Are you gonna take photos like around your outbuildings and with the animals?
Yeah, we're gonna do stuff inside, outside, all around, all the animals. Um, but I
Cute.
think for anyone, like, I'm so glad Sean and I took a photo shoot, and some people, I feel like, when they're not in a home, they're in an apartment, that they're kind of like, well, this doesn't as much feel like it's home, or it's as like established. But Sean and I did a photo shoot in our apartment before we moved into this place a few years ago. And I'm so glad we have those photos to look back on, because it's just such a fun thing. I feel like a lot of times people think of taking photos, it's when you leave. You go
Yeah.
somewhere, it's either on vacation or you travel even somewhere within your town or something, but a lot of times it's not within your space, which I think it's more on the upswing right now. People thinking about like, oh, taking photos, but I feel like I'm most inclined to bring out my camera when we are on an adventure or elsewhere, I feel like. And I'm just excited because I think if you're someone like Riley and I, that's a homebody that loves your home and like makes that your special place, it's just something that I think is important to capture.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And Bray and I should definitely take photos here before we go because we really don't do that very often. Britt and I hardly take photos together.
Yeah,
And this we've loved as our home so much.
you
Dog ear that
should.
when you
You should
come
take
in the
photos.
fall,
Yeah,
you should help with that.
I definitely
Because I
will.
love Quinn's photos. Okay, that's so fun. I'll start on my list. I have kind of a two-parter because one was something I had been wanting to do was make a trip to the orchard because Braden and I we are lucky that we have neighbors with fruit trees that we get to pick, but no one with peaches. There's technically one peach tree in our neighborhood, but I think it's just old because the peaches that grow always just they don't ripen, like they're not edible peaches anymore. But in any case, I love stone fruit and one
Oh,
of the great wonders of summertime is stone fruit to me. And
same.
it's so good, and there's several orchards close to us that do peaches, nectarines, maybe someone does
Oh,
plums, but not
I
that
love
I know of.
nectarines.
Yes, nectarines are so delicious. So we went this week, so it's no longer on my bucket list because we had a day off that aligned. So Britton and I just went on a morning date to the orchard, which was so fun, and we only got to do peaches. They had nectarines, so we got to eat some, but you couldn't pick for nectarines right then. You could just buy them in their farm store. So we got a bunch of peaches, and they're yellow peaches. And they're the
Mm,
type that just have the softest like fuzz on the outside, but is not like a super fuzzy layer that comes off like tufts in your mouth. It's just like the skin itself, and they are mostly not ripe right now, which is honestly perfect because we have a lot of produce at the moment. So they're ripening a little slower, and I'm going to then move on to my next item that was on my bucket list that is attached is I wanted to make a delicious stone fruit dessert cobbler crumble situation. And Braden's birthday is next week, so I'm going to make a peach crumble and we'll have that together before I go, but also hopefully he'll have some left because I'm out of town on Braden's birthday, and as you guys know, I love to bake for people, and especially for their birthdays. It's just that is a tradition I stand behind 100%, as someone making you a treat that you feel like for your birthday. So good to leave him a little something there.
That is a great idea too, and I've not gotten around to that this summer. Oh, I did. I did last year. I found such an easy recipe that was gluten-free, and which I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to like preface this before I just don't explain myself, but I do eat gluten now and dairy, but I still, where I can do something gluten-free, I do still feel better that way. So this gluten-free cobbler was so easy, and I hope I saved the recipe. That's another thing I want to do, is be so much better about writing down recipes. I really want to get a recipe journal that's specific to that. I don't have one. I would love something where it's like big enough that also there could be a folder put within there that's like the papers that have been printed out that someone, or you tear a recipe out of a magazine. Like, I just want to be able to organize recipes and cooking stuff more, because right now stuff is just floating on my Pinterest, which I'm glad I even have some degree of organization, but it's not operating the way I want it to.
Yeah, I like having them written down, and honestly, I have always loved the idea of a recipe box with the little cards, and I started writing a few of those cards, and in my opinion, I think a journal would just work better for that, for how I like to use it, because the cards are such limited space, and sometimes I want to write down more information, or you want to make notes about like how it actually went, or substitutes that you might make, and things like that, and that's a good idea to just start it in a journal, and you can paste things in there if you want. But I do have things that I've used like from a blog on the internet that I just rely on being in my search history to hope to like find it again, and that's not a good method.
Like,
would not
I still
recommend.
I have not written down the sourdough hot dog bun recipe, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I need to write that down. They turned out perfect. Truly the best. That was such a good thing that I accomplished this summer, was getting sourdough hot dog buns made. So fun and so good. Like, I need to go through and write some stuff down. Well, I'll hop on to my next one, which, first of all, right, yes, piggybacking off of yours, the fruit. I just have plans to eat so much more ripe fruit. I love fruit. I always have. Fruit has been my thing my whole life. Like, oh my gosh, a ripe melon, ripe citrus, which thankfully oranges and stuff are good in the winter, but berries, oh my gosh, stone fruit, peaches, like apricots, plums,
Melons.
melon. Top of the list, melons. Like, I want my one thing, this one's short though, so then I'm going to share another. But one of the things on my list is another watermelon. I want to eat another watermelon. I've had several this summer, which I feel so lucky about. And I would love to learn more about when they are at their best, because I don't know seasonally. Like, we might technically be passing the watermelon season already, but I know they're still in stores. I'm going to still grab one and just have one last one, because that's so my summer. That's such summer vibes to me. Another related to produce is that I want to not only take notes about my garden, like my flower and vegetable garden, I also want to plant some seeds that work through the fall, which I feel lucky that I can even attempt. You guys in Virginia can definitely attempt. In Jackson, where we grew up, it's like, yikes. I don't know, unless you have a greenhouse. I'm not sure that anything's growing into the fall. But we still have so many warm days in the fall that extends like through October. So I want to plant some more lettuces because my lettuces are doing well. Like our collard greens have popped off the past few weeks. So those have been good. And I just want to sow some more seeds so that we have some more stuff come fall time.
Nice. I am right on that with you. Note before I forget that Brayden and I did get a watermelon with our CSA last week, but it was literally this big, like it's a small heirloom variety watermelon, and it was so yummy. Brayden and I cut it in half and just like each ate a half with our breakfast. It had a lot of seeds. It was definitely like,
Really?
okay, this is not a seedless watermelon. This is a heirloom, very seedy watermelon. There were a lot to go through, but it was very tasty. So when it comes to watermelon season, you guys are usually at least slightly behind us, so I bet you could find still a good in season one. And that's I knew that this would be something on your list too, because I want to plant some more seeds. I actually did already with Brayden plant a bed and put in a lot of greens that we want for the fall, but I have a few more seeds I would like to get in. I definitely want to get some English, or are they called French breakfast radish? I think.
Yeah.
Some breakfast radishes and that we had from the springtime that grew really well and were very delicious. And I just acquired some anise hyssop seeds, which are this plant right here. I don't know if you can see my flowers here. That's a perennial, but you can use the leaves. You can actually use the flowers also for tea. They have kind of that like licoricey anise smell. Really yummy, and also they're a good flower for attracting pollinators and pretty cold hardy, so I want to put a few of those in.
So do they flower? Because we can't quite see, like I see some of your blooms, but I don't see that one. Oh, okay, it's a little bit of a longer.
Yeah, it's actually in the mint family, so it flowers like purple flowers coming out the top like that, kind of similar how basil looks when it goes to seed or to flower. Which I have to say, you guys, I have encouraged you to plant a pot of basil because at least having that is great. And I still stand by that, but I do want to amend that statement to, if you want to, probably make it a bigger pot, because I tried doing some smaller pots of basil this year, and of course, in contrast to what's like in the ground in my garden, it's not going to be able to grow as much because of the roots constraint, but these basils in the pots are not doing super well. I don't think they're the best candidate for a small pot. There are some other herbs that might be happier in there, so that's my gardening knowledge I am acquiring and passing on to you. Another thing I want to do before this summer is over is make another visit to the river. I love the water, and Brayden and I have had a couple times at the water this year, but definitely not very frequently this summer. And especially here, since the water is so warm, you can go in the evening and it's not like, oh, it's so cold, it's cold to get in the water and then get out. So we can definitely make it work even in an after school, after work situation, and can visit for a summer dip. And I so enjoy that. That's summertime water time is so fun.
Yeah, I love it too. I am craving more water, and something on my list is another homestead cold plunge. We were really using our little stock tank cold plunge that we put in our backyard at the beginning of the summer, Sean and I together, which was so fun. And we've just kind of fallen off throughout the summer, and I'm craving another cold plunge, especially these next few 95-degree days. It'll just feel so good. And the cold water, oh, it still feels cold, but I just love it. It's funny because we are not water signs, but we just love water. And also, Riley and I don't know our sun, moon, rising. We don't know any of that stuff. We don't know what time we were born. I'm sure we could figure it out, but we don't know any of that stuff. And also, I truly do feel still so unawares. Like, people will be like, oh, yeah, that makes so much sense. You're a fire sign or whatever. And I'm like, I can deduce some, like a fire sign. Okay, I can assume you're fiery, whatever. I know what Scorpios are like because I have a Scorpio brother. I can deduce that, like, but I don't know the ins and outs of, let's clarify, this one is called astrology. Um,
Getting
so,
multiple scientific perspectives into this episode.
but I would just think, right, because isn't Gemini Earth?
Yeah, I
That
think
can't be
so.
right. They're not supposed to be like grounded. No, it's got to be we're an air sign.
Oh.
I
Well,
don't
that
know.
shows you what we know, so not not a lot. But you're
Not a
allowed
lot.
to feel so water baby, even if we're not a
Yeah.
water sign.
I just love, oh my gosh, the feeling of water enveloping my skin, especially cool water. It just feels so good. And that is one thing. So this week what we're doing is we are going to the beach, and it's a bittersweet little trip for us, and I don't want to get into the personal details, but we are, of course, going to make the best out of it. We're going to be in a beautiful place and get to be at the beach for at least, whether it's morning walks or whatever it may be. And I was thinking, if I would have known, this came up very last minute because of the circumstance, and if I would have known we were going to go to the beach this summer, the truth is I probably wouldn't have got these ear piercings that I did, because I got two ear piercings. That it's a conch and a helix, and they are through cartilage. Definitely, it's not like, oh, easy breezy healing. Like, no, they're over a month now. I've had them. Um and they are doing well. I feel good about what the final outcome is, but they're still to the point where it's very sensitive to accidentally bump them. They're not feeling healed in. And I am so the type that if there's a body of water around, we are gonna submerge in it. And especially the ocean in the summertime, I'm actually kind of having internal panic of what am I gonna do, because I know that I should not, and probably will not dip all the way in. But for me, like the full mermaid in the ocean dunking under the
Probably
waves,
will not is crazy
I have to
to
keep my head out of the
imagine.
water. People
I
can
know,
die
but
from
how
that,
are
from
you
bacteria in a wound like that.
how are you gonna resist is what I'm curious about, because I'm not going to in solidarity.
Well, obviously, I will go out as far as I can go with you and just keep my hair up in a top knot or something. But that is so. First of all, these were a lot of money. Second of all, it's my body and my health. And third of all,
I
it's the ear
know.
piercings healing. If I get them infected to a
I
bad
wish
place,
there was a
my skin is
little.
so sensitive that they can't, like, I cannot come back from a really messed up infection on my piercing.
I wish we could put a little suction cup on the side of your head to protect it.
I can just put on a shower cap, pull it down over my
You
ears.
need to be a really tight one, like a swim cap, or like a cupping cup that we suction on there.
Can you imagine my ear just, it swells the piercings to like such a
Oh, God.
ginormous degree?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I didn't even consider that. That's too bad, but it's still nice to have your skin in the water. It's so refreshing to do a full dunk, but
Yeah.
we'll make do. It's gonna fly by that time too, but I feel so I just love the ocean so much and feel so
Mm-hmm.
attached to that and land and whatnot. So I often feel my heart aching for different sorts of places and love the mountains and the river and the prairie and the ocean. Just a little earth being. Maybe we are earth signs, Quinn. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? It's
I
making me
forget, did you?
slightly inspired to learn about it. I've always
Okay,
thought
well,
it's
you
cool.
learn
That's
and
not
pass
trying to
it
be a
on.
hater.
This one is so funny, and I like that my stuff on my bucket list is actually easily accomplished because I could say, oh, I would love to spend a week in Italy. Guess what? That's not going to happen. That can be on my bucket list for my life that I get to go do something like that. But I have an attainable one for this summer because I want to actually do these things because they're available and around me is have a little ice cream sundae date. Brayden and I
Ooh.
love a little ice cream date in the summer, and it's just fun. There's a local ice cream shop that's near us, but there's also a shop that's not necessarily an ice cream shop, but a delicious cafe that makes their own soft serve that I know, have a special going on right now with melon scoops, and I don't know, it looks
Ooh.
delicious.
That
And
reminds
we
me of the
have,
ballerina farm. Have you seen that they do that at their local rodeo? That ballerina farm comes with a ton of ripe cantaloupes, and then they
mm,
home make vanilla ice cream and do like fresh Maldon sea salt and a sprinkle of like high quality olive oil
ooh,
and serve that to people at
no.
the rodeo.
That would hit
Oh,
at the rodeo so much. No, but
oh
that's
my
so similar to
God.
this cafe does it with like an actually good olive oil and flaky salt and
Oh,
with the
yes, I
fresh
know.
cream. It's just
It's so good. I wish you could take me one of those on the plane. Mm-mm. Oh, you know what that just made me think of, Riley? That we haven't gone, I assume you haven't gone in so long, is we should go to a pressed juicery and get their
ooh,
little frozen
freeze.
delight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fun. Also, the rodeo made me think that's such a fun thing to do in the summer, but I literally just don't think there are rodeos around here. Like, I could look more into it, but haven't ever heard tell of one. However, I do know the PBR is coming through um Charlottesville, maybe at the end of the summer or like early September. And I thought that would be so fun to go, but it's in our like the university's arena, not a rodeo arena to be clear, the arena like where Sabrina Carpenter played and like
Yeah.
for music and sports games and things like that. And it's one of those times where I'm like, I'm sure it'd be so fun, but the affordable tickets are like up high in the nosebleeds, not really in the action of the rodeo. And I don't know if I'll you can't do every event that looks fun to go to, but that was like, that would be fun. And also, I would be so curious to see what the Charlottesville vibe is for people to go watch
Mm-hmm.
the bull riders because I bet a lot of people haven't really gone to rodeos. I don't know. Maybe I'm making assumptions, but here there's like one Western barn in like a 45-minute radius from us when I was looking at maybe doing lessons and stuff. It's a lot more equestrian English vibes in general.
Yeah, that is so interesting, and I assume that would be so fun and cool too. And honestly, I would love to learn more English stuff, like some jumping. And also, sometimes I'm like, you know what, low key, I used to always be so into the jeans, and I love the jeans, but right now I'm like, give me some
Give me the
breeches.
leggings.
Honestly, I might need some breeches and some English riding boots because those look just sleek and easy. Um, Picture me
It's
the
giving
fall, a
athleisure.
sweater and my
Oh,
yeah, and my
dare you
little
say a
athleisure on the
sweater.
bottom. That's fun.
I saw
So
that I do love the classic Western jean 100%. However, there are times where, especially when Quinn's in and out of them pants all day, I could see the desire.
yeah, well that's the thing is I just they get so dusty, and so then whatever, any pants I wear. I'm done talking about that. Next thing. No, I did want to say too, that's so funny. We obviously are on the same page. Big deal. But one of my things was go to some sort of rodeo horsey event. And I have one on the books that I'm going to go to. So I am going to make my dreams come true. Check off that bucket list item because there's a cutting event happening close to us that I'm going to go see some really beautiful cutting horses, which if people are like, wait, what is that? It's what Bella Hadid is doing. So maybe the people that are a little more on the outside of the horse world would know, because it's what Bella is doing, where she's on a big, beautiful horse and they're basically stopping a cow from going one side to the other and sorting it and moving it. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be cool to watch. Those horses are crazy.
I was going to say the horses are amazing. Ugh. I don't know if Bella rides. I'm sure she has multiple cutting horses, but the one that I have seen her on is a sleek, beefy boy. I assume it's a boy.
Oh,
I don't know if that's the case, but I think so.
Their shoulders are crazy.
Yeah, really pretty horse. I love that, Quinn. I want to go with you, but
yeah, move here.
My last one that I have for this summer is going to see some live music. And I was trying to think, because I was going to say we haven't seen any live music this summer. But then I was like, that doesn't sound true. But maybe it is. Time flies and I can't remember. Like, maybe I've gone to one bar night that they had some live music playing or something like that.
Were you thinking of me singing Bruno Mars, or?
Oh my gosh, it's me getting serenaded on the podcast. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah, it was Quinn. It was Quinn singing Every Day It Will Rain by the Spotify #1 artist. Thank you for bringing to our attention that Bruno Mars is the #1 Spotify artist. Riley and I were talking here,
nobody
being
listens to Bruno Mars anymore.
No, we're so niche. It's so crazy. No, Spotify's #1 most played artist at the moment. So
that is
which I did go on and verify, because I was wanting to listen to Bruno Mars a couple nights ago in the car on my way home, and
so all I have to do is beep boop.
Yeah, pressed on his bio, and it was like, Spotify, first artist in the world.
Well, you know what's that's gonna change is right in October when Taylor Swift drops her next album.
TS12. You know what's crazy? Because I am not a Swiftie. Whoa. People, okay. Hold your horses. I don't feel... It's like the fake fan about Billy Joel, okay? I feel like...
If you said you were a Swiftie, you would be fake.
I would be lying. I don't... People know her birthday... No, I don't know. I don't
That is
I don't
the
know,
least of what they know, let me tell you what.
I don't know the order of the eras. I don't know, what was happening on the Eras tour, which I'm sure was sick as hell. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy Taylor Swift. Our song is the Slam a Screen Door. I love plenty of T-Swift, believe me. But, I listened to a few songs of the Tortured Poets Department. I don't know any of them. I did, though, have the craziest hair, maybe because 5 different people on my Instagram were sharing the podcast episode to their story, but I did go ahead and listen to the podcast episode with her on Travis's podcast New Heights, which I didn't know that was what it's called till I listened to it.
Me neither. I thought that was announcing them starting a podcast together.
So did
when
I.
I first saw it. Okay.
So did I. That's not what's happening. She was just a guest on their podcast.
I was like, that's actually crazy that Taylor Swift is willing to do a weekly podcast.
No, I was like, okay, actually, that I would listen. That's cool. I'm curious.
I know,
of course.
I would listen too, but of course she's like, no, I'm not going to do a podcast.
No. But what I did find out, she is a
Leave
sourdough
that to the
girly.
professionals.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. TS, why don't you just give us a little drop out of the bucket of your earnings toward our podcast startup? I did find out she did buy back all of her music, so she now has the royalties, like all of her music, which is great, and a pursuit
so
she was
not
on.
gonna keep doing Taylor's versions of the albums, do you think that means?
It seems like no, I think there was only one left, anyhow, if I remember correctly.
If there was only one left, then it was Taylor Swift, and that one was the one, if any, I would be waiting for.
Wow. I don't know. I have no idea.
You think
Maybe.
Tim McGraw. I hope you think my favorite song.
What about he's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar.
So good. Honestly, all of those and the underrated ones, Cold as You.
Riley, you might have to cut some of that singing out because it's crazy. First of all, unfortunately, between Riley and I, there's a bit of a lag. Second of all, Riley and I were discussing the other night that it turns out we're not actually meant to be stars in the singing world, because when the audience comes, and yes, we were talking about you, the Q&R code listeners, we choke and we don't actually ever put out our true sound. So yeah. We know we don't have what it takes for performing vocals live. So
speaking for myself, I have known this always, and when Quinn did the talent show of singing year, we always would do dancing and she sang, and I'm like, that is actually so brave.
The fact
it's one thing in a chorus if there are other people with you, but the thought of me on stage showcasing my own vocals to other people is like, I definitely don't want to do that. Like, I know that already.
Middle school, us being literally like middle school 6th graders and singing The Call by Regina Spektor. It started out as a feeling. What? About the war? What were we? I will say, for one,
word grew louder. Also, Twilight. Should we mention that? Oh wait, no. That's the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Which I did not pick the song, so I'll at least take the credit where credit's due. That was not me. I mean, very cunty, so in a way, love, but also like, why the hell were we singing that is so crazy. And that us three, like
not
me and my two
song
friends,
to sing. Should we
say
that much as
that's
well?
That's what I'm like saying. And we each take a break, and it's like, until it was a battle cry, literally being 12, and one of the three of us was a legitimately good singer, you know? She was like in
makes it
plays
in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Hopefully that is never resurfaced, because I've never seen the recording even since I ever did it. Like, we did it live, and then I've never seen it even after it happened, so I obviously kind of blacked out, don't know, you know?
Quinn did great.
God,
with
who
her
knows?
Sweet little, like, 12-year-old voice. It's just certain people obviously are like strong singers as kids. You'll see those exceptional kids, but in general, I think at a talent show we can all give a lot of grace to somebody not being maybe the most refined vocalist that they could be potentially.
It's just so audacious to why in the talent show are you showcasing something that isn't a talent? I don't get it.
I love that about childhood, that you can go up and do something that you're not truly talented at. I do find that harder as time goes on to think of being like, oh, watch me like do my cheerleading routine. And it's like, oh, are you a cheerleader? No, I just created this routine that I'd like to show you guys.
I loved the acts that were like yo-yoing or hula hooping or hacky sack. Like, that
genuinely impressive everything. For the boys that used to be able, like, that in our grade would do it, rollerblading and juggling. I'm like, that is a talent. That's hard. I couldn't rollerblade and juggle at once, that's for sure.
No,
Unicycling is a classic.
yeah, that is classic.
But Slade was our friend that used to do comedy skits and would just full on do Brian Regan's comedy. Like, not write her own stuff. She would just do a Brian Regan show, and it was so
That
funny
was awesome.
because it was actually good, and she was hilarious and had good, like, comedic timing and stuff. I love that it wasn't her own. Obviously, we were in, like, 5th grade, but she was funny. We all enjoyed that.
That is
So that's
really
my
funny.
lesson to you for a talent show. Just take somebody else's that's work that's already talented and repurpose it as your own, as Quinn did with The Call.
Yeah. And really stepped into owning, like, creatively, you know, making choices about singing it myself. Oh, yikes. Okay. That just gave me
Well, I guess
tickles
we
all
should
over.
probably wrap up our summer bucket list episode.
I have
You
literally
gave yourself
goosebumps all over.
chills.
Let me say my last one. Last thing on my
Okay.
list, which we spoke a lot about last summer, but you know what I haven't made this summer? How crazy! Gazpacho. I have
My
not.
gosh.
Oh, I made it a
I've had a couple.
dozen times last summer.
Wow. You need
So
a
I'm ready
gazpacho,
for it.
girl.
Yeah. I want to make that. I want to make that for us to enjoy on one of these summer evenings. What's making me feel uncomfortable about summer leaving is that the days, we're now to the point that the days are getting shorter, and that is always and will forever be the harder thing for me to reckon with. Not the cold, not the weather changes. Really, it's just the nighttime getting darker sooner. That's hard for me.
That is hard, but another thing to remember is I love the quality of the light in the winter. So
Me
it is
too.
less light, but it is a very beautiful daylight. And
I
I'm
also
not gonna lie,
love-
I'm kind of getting ready to tuck in to
Yeah.
some baked goods and earlier
Oh,
bedtimes.
Baked goods for
Hibernation
sure.
mode.
Oh, earlier bedtimes I would love. I would really, really love, and maybe there's a way in which I can make it happen, and I would love that. But every time Sean and I this whole summer have been like, okay, tonight let's try to make it an earlier bedtime. Haven't gone into bed before 11 o'clock this summer. So,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
late.
yeah, and it's often later. So I'm really hoping to embrace that for the
Brayden
fall
and I
winter.
could never.
No,
We
you guys at
are
9 o'clock are
early.
like, I'm in bed. Do you need me when
Yeah.
I call you?
Yep, guilty.
Well, happy end of summer. I do think, like Riley said, there is still time to soak it in. You know how we are, like, savor every day where you can and just romanticize the little things. It's so important. I really believe that. I don't think romanticizing your life is a trend. I think it's just now a name for something that is like having gratitude, daily gratitude. So soak it in. We are wishing you all the best, and we can't wait to talk to you next week.
Or as the sign in our home once read, enjoy this moment, for this moment is your life.
Period.
Boom. Thanks for being with us. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.